Right now, as of today, May 29th, 2026, Liverpool Football Club are standing at one of the most significant crossroads in their recent history. This is not a quiet summer. This is not a summer of minor adjustments. The situation is one of major structural change, and every single day, new information is emerging that tells us exactly what kind of rebuild is coming at Anfield. Let me take you through everything that is happening, piece by piece, because there is a lot to unpack. And I want to be clear with you from the start. Everything I'm about to break down is based on confirmed information and credible reporting. Where something is a rumor, I will tell you it is a rumor. Where something is confirmed, I will tell you it is confirmed. That is the standard of analysis you will always get on this channel. So let us get straight into it. Before we dive into each individual story, I want you to understand what is at stake here for Liverpool. This is a club that won the Premier League title in the 2024 to 2025 season. That is confirmed. But the evidence now suggests that the defense of that title has not gone to plan. There are reports emerging that the players themselves were angered by internal suggestions that the squad had too much time off and did not train with enough intensity. Think about that for a moment. A Premier League champion squad reportedly angered by questions about their own preparation. That is a serious internal tension, and it matters when you consider every transfer decision being made this summer. On top of that, Mohamed Salah, the man who defined Liverpool's attacking identity for years, has departed. His Liverpool career is over? That is not speculation. That is the reality. And now the club must replace not just his goals, but his entire presence on the right side of the pitch. At the same time, Ibrahima Konate appears to be leaving on a free transfer. Jeremie Frimpong has had an injury-ruined debut season. Andy Robertson is also saying goodbye. And Alisson Becker's future has only just been clarified. This is a squad in transition, and the decisions being made right now will define Liverpool's next 2 or 3 years. If you want this level of detailed, grounded analysis on everything happening at Liverpool this summer, hit that subscribe button right now. Every single update, every transfer breakdown, every tactical implication, it is all coming on this channel. Do not miss it. Now let us go story by story. Alisson Becker staying at Liverpool. Confirmed. Let us start with the one piece of good news first, because Liverpool fans need it. Fabrizio Romano has confirmed that Liverpool have formally told Alisson Becker they want him to stay and continue at the club next season. And Romano added that this plan was confirmed since last week. The club do not want to lose another experienced and key part of the squad this summer. Read that again. Do not want to lose another experienced key part of the squad. That tells you something important. It tells you that Liverpool are very aware of how much experience is walking out of the door this summer. Salah is gone. Konate looks like he is going. Robertson is leaving. The club knows that losing Alisson on top of all of that would be destabilizing. So the decision to formally communicate to Alisson that he is wanted is a smart and deliberate one. It is a message of stability. It is Liverpool saying, we are not abandoning our foundations completely. We want to keep our best goalkeeper, who also happens to be one of the best goalkeepers in the world, as the base on which we build. My analysis here is straightforward. This is the right call. In a summer of significant outgoings, retaining Alisson gives the squad a guaranteed world-class presence between the posts. For a club that is going to be integrating new signings and asking young players to step up, having Alisson as a calming, experienced presence is invaluable. This one piece of confirmed news should give Liverpool supporters genuine confidence. Ibrahima Konate leaving Liverpool. The details are now clear. This one is more complicated and frankly more painful for Liverpool fans to process. The situation is that Ibrahima Konate is expected to leave Liverpool this summer, and Liverpool view this as a disappointing outcome that the club worked hard to avoid. That is confirmed by Ben Jacobs. There was a significant gap between both parties over contract terms. Liverpool were determined to maintain their wage structure, even though they were prepared to offer a major salary increase. And here is the detail that tells the whole story. According to Fabrizio Romano, the salary was agreed. The length of the contract was agreed. What broke the deal was the bonuses structure. The two sides could not reach an agreement on bonuses. And over that specific issue, a centre-back of Konate's quality is now walking away from Anfield on a free transfer. Romano also confirmed that Konate will now assess his options, with 4 possibilities open to him. Real Madrid had previously shown genuine interest, but they left talks before Christmas out of respect for Liverpool while Konate was still under contract. Now that he is free to choose, Real Madrid may re-enter the picture, but that is not confirmed. My analysis on this situation is that it represents a real failure of negotiation, regardless of which side you place the blame on. A player who won the Premier League with the club, a player who was a key part of their defensive structure, is leaving for nothing. Liverpool get no transfer fee, they get no financial return, and they now have to go into the market to replace him. The wage structure argument is understandable from a business perspective. Liverpool have always been disciplined about not letting individual players break their internal pay scales. But the reality is that losing a player of Konate's age and quality on a free transfer over a bonus dispute is a difficult outcome to defend. The club tried, but it was not enough. And now they face a summer where replacing him becomes a priority. Nico Schlotterbeck and the Liverpool dream. Rumour at this stage. Now I want to be very clear here. This next story is a rumour. I am flagging that immediately so there is no confusion. According to a report shared by the account Anything Liverpool, citing a source called ITK Space, Nico Schlotterbeck, the Borussia Dortmund defender, has told Florian Wirtz during Germany national team duty that he is dreaming of joining Liverpool. The report also claims he has instructed his agent Bjorn Etzel to begin positioning him for a potential move after the World Cup. Now I want to analyse this carefully because there are some interesting layers to it. First, the source here is not Fabrizio Romano. It is not Ben Jacobs. It is a Twitter account reporting on information from ITK Space. That is several layers removed from a confirmed source. So treat this with appropriate caution. Second, the detail that Schlotterbeck told Wirtz directly is an interesting one. If accurate, it suggests that Wirtz himself could be a factor in attracting players to Liverpool. A player who has already been through the transition from the Bundesliga and is now established at the club becomes a recruitment asset. That is a genuinely interesting dynamic. Third, and this connects directly to the Konate situation. If Liverpool are losing their French centre-back this summer, they are going to need defensive reinforcement. Whether that comes from Schlotterbeck or someone else is unknown at this point. But the need is real. My analysis is this. Do not treat this as a done deal. Do not treat this as even close to done. But do note that the Konate departure has created a clear need in defence, and names will continue to be linked with Liverpool over the coming weeks. Schlotterbeck is a credible player at the top level. If genuine interest develops, it will be worth watching closely. For now, it is a dream, not a deal. Liverpool players angered by internal suggestions. A serious internal signal. This next story is uncomfortable, but it is important. Anfield Watch, citing The Athletic, reported that Liverpool's players have been left angered by the idea that they had too much time off last season and did not train enough. The question being raised internally is whether the club were intense enough in their Premier League title defence. Now I want to analyse what this actually means. The fact that this has leaked, the fact that it has reached The Athletic and then wider social media, tells you that something was not right internally at Liverpool this season. In a well-functioning football club, this kind of narrative does not get out. Players do not feel the need to push back against internal assessments publicly if communication inside the club is working properly. The evidence suggests there is a disconnect somewhere between the coaching staff's assessment of what went wrong this season and the players' own perception of their effort and preparation. That is a significant internal tension heading into a summer rebuild. Arne Slot is already dealing with enormous pressure. There are reports elsewhere about his position being questioned, though I will not go into details not supported by what I have here. What I will say is this. A manager trying to rebuild a squad while managing a reported disconnect with his existing players is in a difficult position. Getting the dressing room right before next season starts is just as important as the transfers. Liverpool won the Premier League the season before. They clearly did not defend it with the same authority. Whether that was down to training intensity, injuries, loss of key players like Frimpong to long-term absence, or other factors, is something the club needs to resolve internally before pre-season begins. Jurgen Klopp to Al-Ittihad. Not happening, at least for now. A quick one here, but worth addressing because the name Jurgen Klopp always generates attention. Ben Jacobs reported that Al-Ittihad consider Klopp a dream target. There is genuine interest from their side in bringing the former Liverpool manager to Saudi Arabia. However, Jacobs was clear, nothing is developing. Klopp insists he is happy at Red Bull. Al-Ittihad feel it would be near impossible to convince him. The club cannot provide the level of financial support Klopp would need, and any suggestions of advanced talks are being downplayed. My analysis here is brief because the facts are brief. This is not a story with legs right now. Klopp is settled. The financial package required is beyond what Al-Ittihad can currently offer without further ministry backing. Club insiders themselves admit the deal is difficult. So while the interest from Al-Ittihad is real, the likelihood of anything happening is low based on everything we currently know. Nico Williams price drop. Liverpool still interested? This is a real one to watch. Now this is interesting, and this one has some genuine substance behind it. Transfer News Live reported, citing El Nacional, that Athletic Club are reportedly prepared to lower their demands for Nico Williams this summer. Rather than insisting on his full €95 million release clause, the Spanish winger could be available for a package worth €60 million plus €20 million in bonuses. And crucially, Liverpool remain one of the clubs interested in signing the Spanish winger. Now let me give you my analysis on this. The original release clause of €95 million was always going to be a barrier for most clubs. Even for a player of Nico Williams' quality, that is a significant outlay. The fact that Athletic Club are now reportedly willing to accept €60 million plus €20 million in bonuses tells you one of two things. Either the player himself wants to move and the club are beginning to accept the inevitable, or the club are being proactive in testing the market to generate competition and drive interest. For Liverpool, this price reduction is relevant. If you are spending heavily on a winger like Diomande, adding Nico Williams at a significantly reduced headline fee becomes more financially feasible in terms of structuring the overall transfer budget. Williams is an established Spanish international who played in the Euros. He offers something different to Diomande in terms of profile, experience, and proven performance at international level. However, I want to be measured here. El Nacional is a Spanish outlet. This is not yet confirmed by a top-tier transfer journalist. Liverpool's interest is described as ongoing, not advanced. So treat this as a developing story rather than an imminent deal. But if the price genuinely drops and Liverpool are serious, this is the kind of situation that can move quickly once the World Cup ends and the transfer window activity intensifies. Jeremie Frimpong omitted from Netherlands World Cup squad. A difficult chapter. This is a story about a player who had a dream debut season in mind and instead went through one of the most difficult years of his career. Jeremie Frimpong, Liverpool's right-back signed from Bayer Leverkusen for £29 million last summer, was omitted from Ronald Koeman's 26-man Netherlands squad for the World Cup in the United States, Canada, and Mexico. Koeman was direct in his explanation. He cited Frimpong's physical problems throughout the season. He specifically referenced a friendly against Ecuador in March where Frimpong came on at half-time and then left injured again almost immediately. Koeman said he had to choose, and he opted for someone else on the right flank. Frimpong responded on Instagram with a message that read, "It was not meant to be this time, but I will be supporting the boys every step of the way this summer." A dignified and respectful response from a player who had every reason to feel frustrated. Now let me give you the full picture on what this season has meant for Frimpong at Liverpool. He made just 35 appearances in all competitions. He dealt with 3 separate injury problems. He was unable to nail down a regular starting spot as a result. And Arne Slot publicly acknowledged how much the team missed his pace during his absences. Slot made it clear that Frimpong's speed was something the squad needed in the front 3 areas, particularly when facing teams who defend deeper. The reality for Frimpong is that this has been a season he will want to put firmly behind him. The World Cup omission is a further blow, but it is a consequence of what happened at club level. If he can stay fit throughout next season, his quality is not in question. The issue has been availability, not ability. My analysis is this. Liverpool need Frimpong fit and firing next season more than ever, especially if they sign a new winger like Diomande who will need time to adapt. Frimpong's pace on the right side is a genuine weapon in Slot's system. A fully fit Frimpong changes what Liverpool can do in transition. The priority for everyone around him this summer should be rest, recovery, and a clean pre-season. Diomande, the transfer Liverpool need most, and why patience is essential. And now we reach the headline story of the summer so far for Liverpool supporters. Diomande, 19 years old. Right-wing forward at RB Leipzig, valued at €99 million by Machine Football's data. And the player Liverpool have been tracking since at least December. Let me give you the statistical picture first, because it is genuinely extraordinary for a player of his age and experience. In the Bundesliga this season, Diomande completed 118 dribbles. No other player in the entire Bundesliga completed more. Not Michael Olise, not Luis Diaz, now at Bayern Munich, not Karim Adeyemi. Nobody. He scored 13 goals and assisted 10 from 36 appearances. He had a run of 8 goal contributions in 10 games between February and April, a run that helped guide RB Leipzig to Champions League qualification. The comparison data from Machine Football is equally compelling. Against Luis Diaz, Diomande scores 99.99 in dribbling, matching Diaz. In finishing and shots, Diomande scores 99.64 against Diaz's 80.98. In creativity, Diomande scores 84.55 against Diaz's 36.99. The only area where Diaz leads is attack positioning, where Diaz scores 90.75 against Diomande's 52.38. What this comparison tells you is that Diomande is a creation-first winger who relies on carrying the ball and generating chances through his dribbling rather than positioning himself to finish. That is a different profile to Salah, and that difference is exactly what Liverpool need. Now, here is where my analysis becomes crucial for any Liverpool fan listening to this. There is a known pattern for players moving from the Bundesliga to the Premier League. Machine Football's league weighting data shows that players typically see a creativity drop of 28.10%, a finishing drop of 25.22%, and a dribbling drop of 16.01% when making that transition. These are not my numbers. These are data-driven projections. And the proof that this pattern is real is already sitting in Liverpool's own squad. Florian Wirtz moved from Bayer Leverkusen last summer. He was considered Germany's best player. He had 5 consistent seasons at Leverkusen, and yet his first season at Anfield produced his worst return in terms of goal contributions since missing the first half of the 2022-23 season through injury. He did not become a worse player. He needed time to adapt. Jamie Gittens at another club experienced the same. Xavi Simons experienced the same. This is a pattern, not an exception. So what does this mean for Diomande at just 19 years old, with only one full senior season behind him? It means Liverpool must be patient. It means the fans must be patient. It means the club should not structure his role or measure his success purely on his first season numbers. He is being brought in to develop into the player who eventually unlocks Florian Wirtz and Alexander Isak at their best. That process takes time. Liverpool's willingness to move for a player so young, based on data and projection, rather than a large historical sample of senior games, shows how much the recruitment model has evolved. The signings of Giovanni Leone and Jeremy Jacquet already showed a willingness to trust the data even on players without huge senior records. Diomande fits that same profile, only bigger, more expensive, and with even higher upside. The transfer itself is not without complications. PSG are also reportedly interested. Leipzig's asking price is significant. Harvey Elliott has been mentioned as a potential make-weight in any deal, given his own previously reported links to Leipzig. Whether Liverpool are willing to meet the full financial demand or whether a creative structure involving Elliott can bring the fee down is something we will watch closely. But make no mistake, if Liverpool get this deal done, they are signing one of the most exciting young wide players in European football. A player who, once he adapts to the Premier League, could be the kind of signing that defines the next era at Anfield. So let me bring all of this together, because the bigger picture matters as much as the individual stories. Liverpool are entering this summer with a clear need to rebuild. Salah is gone. Konate looks to be going. Robertson is leaving. That is enormous experience and quality departing in one window. At the same time, Frimpong had a disrupted first season. Wirtz is still adapting. The players are reportedly frustrated by internal assessments of their preparation. Against that backdrop, the club are pursuing Diomande, monitoring Nico Williams, dealing with the Schlotterbeck rumour in defence, and trying to hold together their experienced core by retaining Alisson. The internal dynamics around Arne Slot's management, the player relationships, and the direction of the squad are all live questions that will be answered over the next 3 months. What I can tell you is this. Liverpool's summer will be defined not just by who they sign, but by how patiently and intelligently they manage the transition. The data is clear. Bundesliga arrivals need time. Young players need patience, and a squad in rebuild mode needs a clear identity and strong internal communication. The evidence suggests the club understands this. The question is whether the results on the pitch next season will reflect it quickly enough to keep the pressure manageable on everyone involved. This channel will be here every step of the way to break it all down for you. If you have not subscribed yet, do it now. Every Liverpool transfer story, every tactical analysis, every squad update, all of it is coming. Hit subscribe, leave a comment with your thoughts on Diomande, on Konate, on any of these stories, and let us keep the conversation going. This is Victor, Liverpool analyst. I will see you in the next one.